Let's talk about the AI race. And I mean, really talk about it. Forget what you might think, because this isn't just about who can write the cleverest code. No, this is a global showdown. We're talking concrete, power grids, and raw digital horsepower. The winner here? Well, they could end up shaping the entire next century.
And this right here, this quote from NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang, it just hits the nail on the head. This really captures the new reality of the AI race. It's not just about software anymore. It's about how fast you can literally build the future. And that's where things start to get really, really interesting.
So I want you to think about this whole thing as a massive, high-stakes game of poker. The prize? It's not just about market share. It's about global influence for generations. And the chips you're playing with? They're made of silicon. The table itself? It's the world's power grid.
To really understand who's holding the winning hand, we need to break this down. We're going to look at 5 key pillars of AI victory. We'll start with the raw, brute force power that fuels these machines, then we'll get into the silicon brains that do the actual thinking, and finally, we'll see how all this tech is actually changing our world.
Okay, first up, the physical foundation. Before you can write a single line of intelligent code, you need 2 fundamental things: a massive amount of power and a place to put your computers. This is the brute force, non-negotiable entry fee. If you're a nation that's serious about AI, you have to get this right. And here's where your jaw might hit the floor. A single search query using AI can slurp up 10 times the electricity of a regular Google search. I mean, think about that. If Google decided to flip the AI switch for all its searches tomorrow, it would need the same amount of electricity as the entire country of Ireland. This insane, bottomless hunger for power is the first giant hurdle in this race. So who's actually preparing for this coming energy tsunami? Well, this slide tells a pretty clear story. AI data centers, they need constant, stable, reliable power. You can't have blackouts. That's why we're suddenly seeing a huge comeback for nuclear energy. And as you can see, China is building more than 20 new reactors. That's more than the rest of the world combined. That gives them a colossal advantage in the race to power the future. But look, having a plan is one thing. How fast can you actually make it happen? That's the real question. In the US, you can get bogged down for 3 years or more just trying to build one data center, thanks to all the red tape and local opposition. In China, they can do it 3 times faster. That's the power of a state-directed system, and in a race like this, that kind of speed is a massive advantage. Okay, so you've got the power, you've got the real estate, but you're still missing the most important card in your hand, the silicon brains themselves. This brings us to our second pillar, and what is probably the most high-stakes geopolitical game in the world right now, the global chip war.
And this is where things get really, really complicated. Just look at this table. It shows you that no single country holds all the cards. The US is brilliant at designing the chips, but Taiwan actually makes the most advanced ones. Then you have the Netherlands, who have a monopoly on the ridiculously complex machines needed to make them. And South Korea, they supply the critical memory. It's like this amazing global partnership, but it's also a house of cards that could fall at any moment.
And because it's so fragile, that's forcing everyone to pick a side. The US and its allies, they're scrambling to secure their own supply chain, trying to bring manufacturing back home and using export controls to cut China off from key tech. China, on the other hand, is just going all in, pouring billions into building its own chip industry from scratch so that they can't be held hostage by anyone. Okay, now that we've covered the hardware, the physical guts of AI, let's talk about the software. Because in this world, there's a war being fought not just over lines of code, but over fundamental ideas. You basically have 2 big camps. On one side, you have the closed source world. These are the secret labs of places like OpenAI and Google. They're building the Ferraris of AI, incredibly powerful, sleek, but everything is top secret. On the other side, you've got the open source revolutionaries. Companies like Meta and Mistral, who are sharing their creations with the world and sparking this global explosion of innovation. And here is where China is making an absolutely brilliant move. They know they're behind in the closed source race, so they're going all in on open source. By releasing these incredibly powerful AI models for free, they're building a global army of developers who will build on their ecosystem. It's a powerful way to create an alternative to the US tech giants. So, what does the future of AI look like? Is it going to be built in these secretive labs in Silicon Valley, or will it be built by a global community of open-source rebels? The answer to that question is going to shape the future of technology for everyone.
Okay, so we've got the power, we've got the chips, and we've got the code. But you know what? None of that matters if you can't actually use it for something. The real finish line in the AI race is deployment. So who's actually putting this tech to work, and who's coming out on top?
You know, the next big frontier is something called agentic AI. The easiest way to think about it is moving from an AI that just answers your questions to an AI that's like your personal assistant. Imagine just telling your AI, hey, plan my next vacation, and it just does it. Books the flights, the hotels, even makes an itinerary, all without you lifting a finger. That is the real prize.
And once again, we see two completely different strategies. The US is laser-focused on the office worker, putting AI into spreadsheets and presentations with things like Microsoft Copilot. China, meanwhile, is focused on the streets, weaving AI into the daily lives of its citizens through these super apps, and using it to totally dominate their massive manufacturing industry.
So, as we head towards the finish line, let's just quickly recap the 4 new rules of the AI race. 1. Have the most power. 2. Build the fastest. 3. Control your own chips. And 4. Make AI that actually does stuff, not just talks about it.
So, the big question, who's winning? If the race ended today, the United States would be standing on top of that podium, no question. They have the best chip designs, the top talent, and the deepest pockets. It's a clear lead, but it is absolutely not a guaranteed victory.
But here's the twist. China isn't really playing by the same rules. They're playing the long game, a game of brute force and physical dominance. So while the US might be winning the flashy battles of today, China is methodically building the empire of tomorrow.
And that brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? The US might be in the lead for now, but with China building the future at this lightning speed, are they about to get lapped? And what happens to the rest of the world when they do?